Hello, everyone. Welcome to June 2nd. My sound's weird. Hold on a second. We will fix that. Okay, I think that's better. So welcome to June 2nd. It's Tuesday, and it's view from a hospital today, but we're going to do an aggregate view from the hospital. And we have Dr. Richard Alker here from PSPG. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. Now, we always let people do their own introductions on our Facebook Live. Do you want to tell us a little bit, like which hat you're wearing today?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm Richard Alker. I'm a veterinarian by profession. Practiced in private practice for about 25 years. But about 10 years ago, I made a career change and joined the group of Total Practice Solutions Group, where we list and appraise, sell, and appraise veterinary practices all over the country. So I've got the state of Florida. There's 9 of us. We've got 8 territories around the country, and we're happy to say that practices are still selling, and we're very busy. So we're here to answer any questions and help with information that might guide the guests to either make a decision on buying or selling, or help them with that thought process.
Awesome. And that kind of brings up a thing. So our kind of theme right now for many people across the industry is we're talking about what's been working, like what works now, what is working. And I think it may be kind of surprising to some people that hospitals are still buying and selling, but that's the case. So that is working. People are buying and selling their practices, correct?
Yes. I think one of the things that we've seen is that the veterinary profession is pretty resilient. Even when you look back to the last recession, it hit veterinarians pretty hard, but they were resilient. We still sold practices. Some practices retained their value or grew in value during that time. And I think during this setback in the economy, hopefully it's a minor setback and a short-term setback, practices are still transacting. Banks are still lending to veterinarians. And if you have a practice that qualifies for corporate transactions, then those corporate groups, most of them are still closing the deals that they had in their pipeline when this pandemic started.
And is there any geographical areas? Like, we know New York was hit pretty hard in New Jersey versus where I live in Minnesota. Is it kind of patchwork, or is everything selling across the board?
Absolutely, it's patchwork. Yes, we're seeing certain parts of the country that are better than others. Obviously, the areas that got hit harder: New York, New Jersey, some of the New England area. Those practices are if they're listed, then they're and of course I don't cover that area, but I think that probably we're seeing some buyers waiting to find out when they're going to be able to start either back to full service or opening if they had to close and that kind of thing. Florida has been real successful in veterinarians staying open and staying busy. Most of the Southeast has in areas that weren't impacted. I think the West Coast, California and Washington got impacted pretty greatly. And I think that some of those areas are probably not thriving as well. But the center part of the country, the Southeast, as far as I know, our guys are busy, busier. We were on a call a couple weeks ago, and everybody said they're as busy as they've ever been. So hopefully that holds up.
Hopefully. I mean, practices are busy now. They're doing a lot of work. Their year-over-year numbers are stronger this year than last year. I mean, that's not 100% across the board, but it's not what we expected in March when all this went down. So that's the positive news. Now, before we went live, you and I were talking about adaptations for buying and selling your hospital. Like that's changing, right?
Right.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, maybe?
Yeah. So some of the things we're seeing is, most of us, um, we like to go see the hospitals before we list them. That's been a challenge. Fortunately, I've just got Florida. I can drive to what practices I need to go to, and we've done that. We've listed a few new practices in the last couple of weeks, and we've been to them and seen them. We had to do that during times where they were closed and staff weren't there and that kind of thing for everybody's safety. But some of our guys cover bigger territories, and they have to jump on planes to go see practices. So that's going to change a little bit how we do that. I think how we share practices with buyers may change. We may see a lot more meetings on Zoom to show and share practices with buyers. We're actually even doing closings virtually. So closings are being done on a more virtual basis, where we get a buyer and a seller and the attorneys on Zoom and go through the paperwork that's been emailed to them and they sign it and send it back and so that's even changing. So I think we're going to see things different, as every aspect of any industry is going. Things are going to be different from here forward for some period of time.
Totally, and maybe the video camera of footage of the practice will become very important. If people can get a walkthrough of the practice, but via virtual reality, right?
Yeah, guys with video cameras and drones might become very popular to capture that footage in a way that we can make it as realistic as possible for buyers.
That's true. I hadn't thought about drones, but that would definitely give you some different perspective of the practice and the location, because you can't walk it or drive it yourself as readily. So yeah, that's pretty cool. What about you guys personally? Like, I know you guys have been marketing a lot. It's a great time. We keep telling everybody Google's on sale, Facebook's on sale. What's been working for you guys as a group, as a company?
Well, thank goodness that we engaged Beyond Indigo about a year and a half ago for doing all of our digital marketing for us, and we've been real pleased with that. It's working really well. We see we're getting a lot of traction on all of our social media advertising, and we're getting away from, as most businesses are, we're getting away from print advertising, and we were kind of heavily leaning in that, had heavily weighted in that direction prior to about a year and a half ago, and so we're seeing a lot of traction with that, and as most of our buyers are in that generation where they're on social media all the time, and not so much most of our sellers, but they're learning and they're catching up with that, and so we're seeing a lot of traction with Facebook and LinkedIn and our Google ads as well.
Awesome. Yeah, because we're all having to lean into this space, right? During this time, we constantly told people, lean into your marketing, and you're probably telling your clients that too. Like if you're a seller and you're looking for buyers, you're going to have to adapt, like you said, how you attract those buyers during this market, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we're adapting. Yeah. So are there any tips you can give buyers or sellers today if they're looking to buy or sell in the next year?
Yeah, I'd say probably the biggest thing, Kelly, is don't let fear drive what your decisions are. Make quality decisions based on quality information. So look back at your statistics, look back at your productivity. Make your decisions based off that. If you're thinking about selling, don't just assume that because you had a bad couple of weeks that your value has diminished by 50%. Let's look at the numbers. Let's give us a chance to. And I think that people probably need to have, if they've had valuations done on their business in the past, they probably need to update them here after this kind of, to when we get to a point where we're pretty well out of this, and you can go back to working on a regular, normal basis with clients coming in on a normal basis and that kind of thing. And you probably should have your business evaluation done on it again at that time. If you're looking to buy, there again, don't let fear, don't just assume that a practice you might be interested in is a disaster because we've had a pandemic. I had a practice that we closed on a couple weeks ago here in Florida. It was only down 3% from March 15th to May 15th. And we closed on that on May 15th. And there was a time frame where the buyer was very hesitant and very reluctant and didn't know what was going to happen. And yet that practice proved that it was affected or impacted very minimally. So if you're interested in practices, don't let fear drive your decisions, I guess, would be both from a buyer and a seller standpoint. There's still good practices out there. There's still banks lending money. And if it's a good deal now, it's going to be a good deal in the future. And one of the things that we found is that because of the resiliency that the industry has shown, it confirms our position that we've always thought that the investment in a veterinary practice is a good deal. In the right veterinary practice at the right price is a good deal. It's a good deal. It was a good deal in February, and it'll be a good deal next month.
Makes sense. And I love how you say don't let fear rule you or be your guiding light. Don't let that emotion be the one that you lean on when you're making your decisions, because fear always tends to make poor decisions regardless across the board.
Absolutely.
No, I really like that. So you're like, focus on the positive, look at the numbers from February backwards, know that veterinary is resilient and it's a good buy and it's a good deal. And then it's also some people's passions too. So don't let fear stop your passion and where you want to go in life, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, if people are interested in putting their fear on the shelf, where should they go to talk to you guys? Should they go to their website?
Yeah, totalpracticesolutionsgroup.com has all of the information that we need that they would need to contact each of us for our territory. There's a map on there. They can figure out who's got what territory. If they're looking to buy a practice in a certain territory, it's got the information on there. They can sign up on there. If you're a buyer, there's a place to sign up on there to get emails every Friday of all the new listings that we have. So that's a valuable deal. And basically our website has all our contact information, all of our email address, phone numbers, and we're happy to have new folks calling us to let us help them.
Right, and I suppose even if they're just kicking the tires and trying to figure out if this is a path for them, you guys can help them out with that too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we like to deal with serious individuals that are ready to buy and sell, but if they're new in the game and they're looking to figure out what it takes to make their dream come true, then we can certainly walk them through that.
Sounds perfect. Well, you can help anybody out wherever they are on the decision tree. Well, thank you, Richard. Thank you for coming here today. Appreciate it. And you have great tips, and have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.